why am I pretty confident that it isn't happening? And the answer isn't that I trust the government or everything it says. The answer is that I trust individual people to speak out. And I think governments are actually pretty bad at keeping large-scale secrets. So to be clear, governments can keep operational secrets for a short amount of time if they involve a small number of people. So like the US government was able to keep secret the details of the raid on Osama bin Laden before it happened. And Canadian government can keep small secrets like that too. But Western democracies, as far as I know, just really, there's no experience of them having really large programs involving thousands or tens of thousands of people that are really kept secret for decades. And that's especially true for ones that are really strongly prejudicial to the public interest, at least in some people's view. So, I mean, we do now know through Edward Snowden lots about what NSA did. And in fact, we knew quite a bit before Edward Snowden. And I personally think NSA shouldn't have done that, but that was a very big step from deliberately slaughtering the US population. The chemtrails conspiracy, there's different claims, but the basic claim seems to be the government is deliberately doing something on a large number of commercial aircraft. And to do that, you'd have to have a supply chain to put all the material on. You have to have engineers and people at airplanes loading this stuff. There'd have to be thousands of people involved to move that much material. And to do that, those thousands of people would have to have some idea what was going on. And all of this would have to do something that was horrible. And there's sort of no chance that somebody wouldn't speak out with high quality evidence. And yes, you could imagine maybe the government sort of shoots people who speak out, but they can't do it that successfully. Heck, even in the middle of the Second World War, even when most Americans would have agreed that it was good to develop atomic weapons, we didn't keep the secret. The fact is there were people inside Los Alamos who leaked the details to the Russians before the weapon was even used. Governments just don't keep secrets like this. So that's the basic reason I think that the idea there's a large-scale secret program is just completely ridiculous. But the question is, why do so many people believe this? People believe that 9/11 was staged. People believe there are aliens on Air Force bases in Texas or Nevada or wherever. The fact of the matter is that in our society, a lot of people just believe things that normal science doesn't believe at all. People believe that vaccines are somehow hugely destructive when the evidence is the other way. So why?
'Cause I'm a liar. Yeah, I'm a liar.
What do we do?
So the other thing is horrifying. It is that you could actually spray sulfuric acid in the stratosphere 20 kilometers over our head and use that to stop the planet warming up in a kind of ugly tech fix.
You could spray something into the atmosphere to change. Okay,
Spray pollution into the atmosphere to stop it warming.
So in the end, pollution saved them all. We owe pollution. We owe acid rain an apology, is what you're saying.
A totally imperfect technical fix.
Okay.
It would have risks. It wouldn't get us out of the long-run need to stop polluting, but it might actually save people and be useful.
Okay, so how, again, I interrupted slightly there. How does it work? How many planes are we talking about here? How do you do this?
So let's say you wanted to stop it warming in 2020. You'd start with a fleet of just 2 or 3 kind of modified business jets.
What kind of, like a G6?
Yeah, like a G650.
Like a G6.
That's it.
A G6.
And you'd put, say, 20,000 tons of sulfuric acid into the stratosphere every year, and each year you have to put a little more, and this doesn't, in the long run, mean that you can forget about cutting emissions. We will need to rein in.
No, we'll get to it eventually, yeah.
But it does.
In the meantime, we're shrouding the Earth in sulfuric acid.
So say you wanted to stop it warming in 2020. So let's say you wanted to stop it warming in 2020. So let's say you wanted to stop it warming in 2020. So let's say you wanted to stop it warming in 2020.
Yeah.
So let's say you wanted to stop it warming in 2020.
Yeah.
Mean that you can forget about cutting emissions. We will need to rein in.
No, we'll get to it eventually, yeah.
But it does.
In the meantime, we're shrouding the Earth in sulfuric acid.
So governments just don't keep secrets like this. So that's the basic reason I think that the idea there's a large-scale secret program is just completely ridiculous. But the question is, why do so many people believe this? People believe that 9/11 was staged. People believe there are aliens on Air Force bases in Texas or Nevada or wherever. The fact of the matter is that in our society, a lot of people just believe things that normal science doesn't believe at all. People believe that vaccines are somehow hugely destructive when the evidence is the other way. So why?
April 21st, you said that you told the Associated Press that the American government has created weather tampering techniques so that the New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans and to control the rest. Would you explain what you were trying to say?
Well, what I was trying to say is exactly what I said. There is weather control techniques. We have a complete package on that, which I did not bring, but I certainly will see to it that it is brought in for the record. Number one, the entire patents on the equipment. Number two, Senator Claiborne Pell's complete statement and story of his own that not only does it exist, but that we even utilized it as far back as the Vietnam War. You might want to touch base with Senator Pell.
I just want to repeat before I turn to
questions. Yes, but we do have all that information.
You're saying the government has created weather tampering techniques so that the, quote, New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans.
Worldwide.
Millions of Americans, and to control the rest.
Yes, sir, and that's my belief. As bizarre as that sounds, if somebody had told me that that equipment even existed 10 years ago, I would have thought they were nuts, sir. And at this point in time, we have all the documents to prove it. And if you think that 85 tornadoes takes place in the middle of our growing area by simultaneous accident, I'm sorry. With the equipment that's already set up internationally, and as bizarre as that is, it is proven and documented. We will supply you with those documents. As bizarre as that is, I would say that weather wars, and this is quoting actually Senator Claiborne Pell himself, that they are the greatest weapon ever created in the world, and that's the Senator's own statement. So yes, I do stand on that.
Thank you, Ms. Fletcher. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Now, everybody loves to downplay this particular article right here. Vermont Independent, geoengineering, not a conspiracy theory. House Resolution 2977. And Snopes did their work on it. Everybody debunked this. This is just insane. This doesn't make any sense. You may want to look at this because this is old news. This is 2001. And this is congress.gov. House Resolution 2977, 107th Congress, 2001-2002. Banning space-based weapons and other exotic weapons. Section 6, non-space-based weapons activities. Definitions. In this act, the term space means all space extending upward 60 kilometers. And you can clearly see that they want to ban exotic weapons such as electronic, psychotronic, and information weapons. Also, chemtrails. This is congress.gov. Because you didn't know it doesn't make it a conspiracy theory. It makes it a conspiracy that you didn't know about. High altitude, ultra low frequency weapons, plasma, electromagnetic, sonic, ultrasonic, laser weapons, strategic, theater, tactical, or extraterrestrial weapons. Chemtrails has, and it's never been removed. This is congress.gov. They've erected Doppler radar installations all over the United States and all over the world. These allow them to steer the weather. Using frequencies and heavy metals that they've been dumping in the atmosphere for decades now, they can steer the weather. They can cause a storm to become greater. They can cause a storm to dissipate. They can cause a storm to stall in an area, causing massive destruction. Other heads of states in other countries have spoken about this over the years, only to be ousted from power or had democracy spread in their countries. They can also use this technology to create earthquakes, and it's very, very old technology. There is nothing new under the sun. You're looking at documentation from government websites. You're looking at documentation from Forbes magazine, Scientific America, going back to the 40s. They openly admit in the 60s that they used weather modification in Vietnam. Operation Popeye. New York, 1972. Rainmaking as a weapon. United States Air Force manuals and transcripts. Weather modification. Using the weather as a weapon. Controlling Harnessing and Stopping the Weather, 1972. This is old news, but it's always been kept under wraps, and now they're coming out with it. United States Air Force, Weather as a Force Multiplier, Owning the Weather in 2025. All links will be pinned in the comment section below. Weather warfare, 1931. The Brzezinski, the guy that started the Trilateral Commission, talks expansively on using the weather as a weapon because nobody suspects the weather. The weather you can't blame it on anybody. You can have your suspicions, but you can't blame it on anybody. But now they're coming out with it. They're pushing this on the public from every single solitary direction, led by Dr. David Keith, Oxford University, Harvard University, and now the federal government has thrown their hat into the ring, where they're going to block out the sun, control the weather using your tax dollars. It's no longer a secret. It's time for people to wake up and understand this is the worst thing that could happen on Earth, hands down. People need to understand this is the same government that has let our national debt get to $23 trillion and climbing. This is the same government that brought us into Iraq for 13 years, killing over 1 million people on a lie. There were never any weapons of mass destruction. This is the same government that allows 22 veterans to kill themselves every day, going without treatment. This is the same government that keeps giving your tax money to other countries, whether you like it or not. Sad to say, this government isn't for the people, by the people. This government has an agenda and always has. And it's nothing good. It's not in humanity's favor. It's time to wake up and start believing your own lying eyes. This goes on every single solitary day. We never see a blue sky all day sustained in the Northeast. I get emails from all over the world saying that they're seeing this absolutely everywhere. Not only are they blocking out the life-giving sun that we need, they're blocking out the night sky. The night sky has become reflective. This is also dumping mass amounts of barium, strontium, aluminum, depleted red blood cells, and whatever else they're putting in this mixture. It's time to wake up, because this is going to get worse. The push is on. They are not going to stop. But we must not consent. Hashtag we do not consent. Spread this absolutely everywhere. Richie from Boston. I'm out.